Hey guys, what is up? This is Matthew Davis Media once again. Welcome back to another video game review. This time it is going to be on the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which has been in development for 4 years and has finally come out a week ago, and it took me a week to beat this game. I thought it would take me longer. It took me around 25 hours or so to beat the game, but I did manage to beat it, so now I get to talk about it. In one of my playthroughs of Undertale, I thought I wasn't that close in because I said I was 20 hours in. Turns out I had like 1 hour of gameplay left. So my bad on that one. But in this game, like I said before, this is the remake of the beloved JRPG from the 90s on the PS1, which is also available on the Nintendo Switch and the PS4 for the original Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy VII Remake is only available for PS4. And in this game you play as Cloud Strife, who, of course, if you know the story of the original game, then I shouldn't really have to explain it because you probably have already played the original game, and you're probably a massive fan of the Final Fantasy series, if you played that original game. Now, I actually have played the original Final Fantasy VII, not a whole lot of it, probably like 5 hours of it. I think it's an amazing game, and I wanted to continue playing that amazing game later down the line. But for right now, I'm talking about the remake here. How does it all play out? Well, it's basically a remake of the first few hours of the original story, just expanding out with all these side quests and a lot more cinematic cutscenes. And first off, I have to mention, this game is absolutely beautiful. It is breathtaking. Facial animations are absolutely outstanding, okay? Well, particularly for the main characters, okay? Some of the NPCs, when you accept side quests, some of them kind of look a little weird in some parts, but for the most part, the graphics, they're outstanding, okay? Also, like I mentioned before, there are side quests in this that you can do. They're optional. Some of them are just like fetch quests here and there. Like, they're basically, you know, tedious for the most part. Like, there's this one where you have to get this little girl's cats, which it doesn't really hold your hand to where exactly those cats are. There's another one where you have to get this guy's chocobos back, and also doesn't hold your hand that much. But for the most part, this game mainly focuses on the large expanded story of the missions. And I had a lot of fun with the main story, okay? Easily one of the best parts of this, and which is a big difference from the original game, is the combat. The combat I had so much fun with, probably because I'm more of an action guy than turn-based guy. That's not saying I don't like turn-based combat. I mean, Chrono Trigger is one of my favorite games of all time, and hell, I already reviewed, my last video game review was for a turn-based game, and I consider that also one of the best games ever made. But in this, I felt really satisfied with the combat. It's basically like the combat from Final Fantasy 15, although, you know, a little bit more. I would say I like the combat a lot more in this game than I did in Final Fantasy 15. I mean, sure, other Final Fantasy games were more on the action-oriented side. The turn-based basically stopped after, like, Final Fantasy X, I believe, from what I know of. I haven't played that many Final Fantasy games. I played the original Final Fantasy VII, I played Final Fantasy X, and I played Final Fantasy 15. I have Final Fantasy IV on the PS1, but I mostly got that for Chrono Trigger. But if I do have time, maybe I will play Final Fantasy IV one day. But, you know, how did I enjoy this game? I really dug this game. I had a lot of fun with it. I love how you can customize your weapons to make them stronger. Like, you can get, you know, like these points so you can upgrade your weapons. Throughout the game, I mostly just stuck with Cloud's Buster Sword because, you know, that's a really iconic weapon. And I felt like, you know, it was the best weapon to use, okay? There were other weapons I could have used, but I mostly used the Buster Sword throughout the entire game. You can also get materia, just like in the original game, where you can use to, like, give specific elements to certain characters. That's another thing that Final Fantasy VII is known for having such great characters. You got Tifa, you got Wedge, Barret. They're all beloved characters from the original game. And I love the characters here. I felt like they had a lot more personality to them. I thought they could be a bit more comedic at some parts. You also got Aerith, who in the original game was called Eris, but in this game she's called Aerith. I don't know why they really did that, but it shouldn't bother her. But, you know, for the most part, I loved interacting with these characters. Probably my favorite has to be Barret, probably because, you know, he's the sassy, you know, cool, buff guy with a Gatling gun for an arm, but also a very loving father. And he kind of has a weird relationship with Cloud. Like, sometimes he'll be a dick to him, sometimes he'll But, you know, it's reasonable for the most part. But, you know, I love the characters here, just like they were great in the original game. I will say, though, in specific parts, there are areas in the game that kind of drag on a little bit that don't really focus on combat. Like, there's this one where you have to switch out between different characters to do, like, a specific puzzle to open doors and stuff so they can get through. It was kind of tedious for the most part, but, you know, the game does focus a lot more on combat, okay? Because, like I mentioned before, it has terrific combat. I had a lot of fun with the combat, and, you know, for the most part, I was satisfied with the overall package. But here's one thing I noticed when I got to the end, okay? Apparently the end isn't the actual end. This might be a spoiler, but I think if you've beaten the game, like, you should know where this... I think Square Enix already announced this, but the game is divided into multiple parts, and basically the first part is the first part. There's basically a second part, and basically the story is going to continue from there. So that's why it was a remake of the first few hours. So basically, this is only the beginning. But, you know, I really hope we don't have to pay for the next part, because, you know, that would just really suck, because you have to pay $60 for this game. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it's definitely worth the price for its 25-hour campaign with all these side quests and stuff. But, you know, I'm just really hoping that, you know, later down the line, because I actually do want to see what will happen next, even though it is, for the most part, the same as the original, just with enhanced graphics and enhanced combat. But, nevertheless, I still had a great time with this game, okay? It's beautiful, the characters are just as great as ever, the combat is satisfying, the music, oh my god, the music is absolutely amazing as well. So I will say, if you're a fan of the original game, then you should definitely pick this one up. And even if you haven't played the original game, at least the first 5 hours, then you should definitely play this one. But I do want to play more of the original Final Fantasy VII. I've been playing the original Final Fantasy VII, and I think it's a fantastic game. And hell, there are other Final Fantasy games I do enjoy. Like, I love Final Fantasy X. I also enjoyed Final Fantasy 15, although I felt like it could have been a little bit longer, because it took me less than 20 hours to beat the main story. This I thought was better than Final Fantasy 15. And all in all, I had fun with the game. So, for the most part, it's a solid title, and a solid remake at best. Also, if you're wondering, yes, it's raining outside. So, yeah, but you know, I love the rain. I'm going to give Final Fantasy VII Remake a 4 out of 5. Now, I was going to give it a 4.5 out of 5, but after seeing that conclusion, and now that I think about it, it does slow down at those certain parts of the game, and with all the fetch quests that you have to do, it's a 4, but that's not to say I hated the game, okay? In fact, I really enjoyed it. It's definitely worthy for my best games of the year list, okay? It's a shame I've been playing more games than seeing movies at the time, but, you know, I really hope we're near the end of this virus situation, but, you know, it's just great that I have time to play these games so I can review them for you guys. And, you know, I did make this video last night, sort of. I attempted at it, but I felt like it wasn't the best I could have done, so I updated that video, and I'm glad that I did. Updated this video, so... But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be playing a lot more Undertale because since I have the time, and there aren't really any other... I mean, there are more games I could play, but, you know, it's really all going to depend. I might have another chat with Matt video. It's really going to depend. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.